Hi, everyone. It's Samuel Andreyev, and I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I've been trying out Grok, which is the new AI platform that's available on x.com. And I have to say, I'm pretty astounded by what it's capable of doing. So I thought it would be interesting today to find out what it thinks of the music world, what it thinks of composers, and, well, see how intelligent it really is. So here we go. Okay, so I'm going to open up Grok here. And so here, I should first point out that there are ways of prompting Grok or ChatGPT or other AI servers in such a manner that you get a more interesting result. There's a certain amount of skill involved in that, and you can read quite a lot about intelligent ways to prompt these platforms. I haven't done any of that, so this is the perspective of a total novice user who really doesn't know what they're doing. And I'm going to just put in some very simple prompts here and see if I can get Grok to generate some interesting images relating to music. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to ask Grok to do here is to generate a page of music notation. So let's see how well Grok can handle that task. Show me a page of music notation. All right, so this is interesting. Its first response is to generate a guitar tab. And it's telling me about what the time signature is, the key, and so on, what the tones are. That's kind of interesting. Try again. I'm going to write try again, this time with staff notation. What the hell is this? Okay, so that's obviously not musical notation. Maybe I should be more precise in my prompt. Please show me a page of music notation on a conventional 5-line staff. Actually, I'll change that to please generate an image. Okay. Huh. You know what this looks like? Maybe you've seen this. If you go to a dollar store and look at the mugs that they have, these like $2 mugs that you can buy, very often they'll have bits of music notation on them, or t-shirts often will do this. And the notation is created by designers who have no idea what music notation actually is like. So there will be these sort of nonsensical tunes. And completely incoherent rhythms and so on. It's actually quite funny. You can take these things and try playing them, as I've sometimes done. In fact, on one occasion, I took a bit of notation like that and read it and transcribed it into a sort of a more ordinary notation and used that as the basis for a pop song. So anyway, I thought that was kind of funny. So this image that we have here, this is interesting. So obviously, Grok doesn't really understand music notation, and it's sort of cobbling together a repertory of symbols. So we see fairly ordinary-looking eighth notes, and with stems and ligatures. And this is, I suppose, intended to be in the place of a time signature, but these are illegible symbols. There's like an O floating above a Y, and then a smaller symbol next to it. So I think it's observing that there are little bits of type in standard music notation, which could be fingering indications. Actually, that's kind of what that looks like. Or it could be bits of text in Italian or whatever, and it's just kind of making a mashup of those things. What's also funny is the note heads are all different sizes. And I don't know what these rhythms are. But it's diatonic. We have to presume that it's in C major because there's no key signature. So let's try again. Please add a key signature. Let's see what happens. Okay, so it completely failed to understand that. So now we have an image that is a little bit more complex than the previous one. So we have 16th notes this time and some rudimentary indications like slurs and little bits of type. These could be lyrics. Who knows, really? It's a little bit more complex than the previous one. And this sort of looks like a mordant or some kind of a Baroque trill. Very odd. Okay, let's try this again. And that's not bad. but it's not very accurate. Please generate a realistic page of music notation on a 5-line staff. This is getting more and more abstract and weird. So this is no longer, you notice that I specifically said a 5-line staff, and now it's gone and made a 6-line staff for much of this course. That's kind of odd. All right, well, so I feel like I'm getting nowhere. Maybe there's a more intelligent prompt that I could put in. Let's see, I'll try something else. I'll try a different way. Please write a page of music and show me the staff notation. Okay, so in a weird way, that's kind of better. It looks a little bit more like we have some recognizable elements of music notation here. There are bar lines, so that's new. We have a kind of a smudgy key signature. It looks like it's in D major or B minor, sort of, although here it looks like it changes. There's only one sharp there, an F sharp. Okay, and I guess that's a sketchy time signature, maybe. It's really funny. And lots of odd symbols, like this sort of looks like a down bow symbol. There are slurs. It's able to pull out all of these different visual elements, but obviously this isn't a piece of music, and it has no idea what it's actually doing. So it's a kind of random mashup of vaguely, appropriate symbols for a page of staff notation. So obviously this is, Grok is not, at least with the sorts of prompts that I'm giving, it's not able to compose anything. We should point out, of course, that this is like insane that it's able to even do this. And of course, probably if I were to do this again in 3 months, the results would be way better because things are moving really quickly. All right, let's try something a little bit different. So we've tried to generate a page of music notation with, I think, quite amusing results. But let's see if it can, let's see what Grok thinks a composer looks like. Okay, so we'll try show me an image of a composer writing in a conservative tonal idiom and show their workspace. Okay. So I'm not sure what the signifiers are that this person is working in a conservative tonal idiom. So he seems to have a MIDI controller, and he's got like a clipboard, what looks like a clipboard with some A4 sheets of music on them, and he's got a computer in the background and a plant. Okay, so I'm going to say, make him look more conservative. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so Grok has understood that a composer writing in a conservative tonal idiom would likely be wearing a suit jacket and a dress shirt, would likely be writing with a pencil or a pen instead of on a MIDI controller, and on paper at a wooden desk. Okay, so that's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, make it so that we can see what he is composing. That's not bad. Okay, so this composer has hair that's very reminiscent to the oil portrait of Beethoven that we see quite commonly. So there's that. He's got a handkerchief in his breast pocket and a vest. Okay, so that's super conservative. And he's a little bit older this time. This has sort of vaguely Nordic features, and is writing in a study, clearly, with bookshelves stuffed with books. And he's writing, once again, in pencil, it looks like, on paper, and we can kind of see the notation. So this is not much more precise than the images of music notation we generated last time. Okay, so that's not bad. So it's interesting. You can interact with Grok and you can get better results if you make the prompts more precise and respond to it. So let's try something else. Okay, now show me a radical avant-garde composer. Now show me a radical avant-garde composer in their working environment, and show me what they are working on. Okay, this is pretty funny. So we notice that the image of the avant-garde composer, the radical avant-garde composer, is in black and white, whereas the conservative one was also in black and white. That's kind of funny. So why have we suddenly switched from color to black and white? I have no idea. That seems kind of random. Anyway, so this guy, this guy has sort of messy hair. He needs a haircut. He's wearing like a pullover, and yeah, so he's got sheets of music paper that look like they were made on a computer. So he's working on a laptop. He's got various computer monitors open. He's got 3 monitors. And I don't know what these posters are supposed to be on the wall, but presumably he's the sort of guy who would have a really messy work environment with lots of weird posters. They look kind of like they might be from some Eastern religion or something, but it's not very clear. Okay, so that's not bad. Make him appear even more radical and avant-garde. Huh. Well, I don't know that this fellow is more radical looking than the previous one. Okay, so he has a beard. So maybe maybe the more radical you are, the likelier you are to have facial hair. Maybe it's something like that. There's a correlation. So his score that he's working on, I think Grok has made it larger so that I can see because that was one of my requests, was I'd like to be able to see what he's writing. So for some reason he switched back to paper. So I don't know what the deal is there. This actually looks kind of vaguely Debussyan, this notation here. It's not particularly radical looking. So let's see if we can refine this. Make it so that the score he is working on uses some kind of avant-garde musical notation. Now let's see what happens. Oh, that's good. Wow. Okay, so now our radical avant-garde composer is older and has a lot of facial hair. So you can see that Grok clearly believes that, again, the longer your beard and the longer your hair, the more radical you are. So that's interesting. And he's working with what looks like a technical pencil or an architect's pencil. Yeah, and this notation is definitely on the radical avant-garde side. So the staff, yeah, you can see this is a cutaway score. That's kind of interesting, like sort of what Penderecki was doing in the 1960s. And it's written by hand, right? No computers for our radical here. You know, that would be too corporate maybe. So okay, that's not bad. Okay, and I'm going to ask Grok to do that again. Just see if it can generate a variant on this image. Please do it again. This time, show the face of the composer and their working tools. Okay, well, let's see what happens here. Huh. Okay, so this guy sort of looks like a young version of Brian Fernyhough. This is really funny. Yeah, the notation is back to something much more conventional. Still with all of these sort of posters on the wall. It's kind of funny. He looks like he could be writing in a little university office or something. You know, it sort of has that feel to it. I'm not sure where the light source is coming from, though. That's kind of funny. All right, so I think I've gone pretty much as far as I can in that direction. So you can see, so here's our conservative composer, right, working in a conservative tonal idiom. You can tell that this guy is writing something, probably along the lines of like Vaughan Williams or maybe Benjamin Britten at the most, right? So it might even be more conservative than that. Might be it might be writing some Anglican choral music or something. And so this dude here, God only knows what he's up to. Yeah. Okay, so let's try something else. So show me what you think a composer will look like in 100 years. Show them in their futuristic workspace with all of the advanced tools that they are using to create their work. Because I'm curious about the future, obviously. This is not futuristic at all. Like this just looks like an ordinary composer working today at a DAW, right? A digital audio workstation. So he's got, totally ordinary looking computer monitor. He's got some kind of MIDI sequencer open in front of him, studio monitors. He's got his little weird plant cactus type thing, and he's got his headphones. Okay, that composer looks basically contemporary. Make him futuristic. I want to understand what the future might bring. Okay, it's thinking. This is a hard question. It's taking a bit longer. Okay, again, the main things that are futuristic here are that he's got these glowing violet pastel colored lights in his workspace, and he's got a desk with a weird light strip at the front of it for some reason. He looks like he's watching a YouTube video on one of his monitors, and he's composing on a DAW on his other monitor, and he's on the young side, and again with the long hair and the beard, and he's got a kind of a very large office chair. So this is not giving me any ideas, but he's got a kind of like what looks like a mini Moog or something, some kind of a analog synthesizer. But this is not futuristic at all. So let's try something a little bit more extreme. So let me find my original prompt again. So I said, what they're going to look like in 100 years. Let's try 1,000 years in the future. And I'm going to add the more futuristic, the better. So show me what you think a composer will look like in 1,000 years. Okay, see if there's any difference. I'm not sure. So yeah, no, it's refusing to do that. So Grok is not really able to peer into the future, it seems. So the environment that this guy is in is, I don't know if that's futuristic. Maybe Grok is trying to tell me that in the future, everyone will work in little rooms with no windows, and there will be LED lights everywhere and computer monitors and MIDI controllers. But I mean, that's kind of the case already. So I don't really know how different the future is going to be from right now. That's kind of odd. So, okay. Well, I don't know. I'm getting the sense that Grok actually doesn't really understand composers and their workspaces very well. So I'll try one last thing, and then we'll call it quits for today. So show me a workspace of a composer with all of the tools they need to do their work laid out neatly on a desk. The room is otherwise empty. So I'm just curious, what does Grok think composers work with when they're writing their work? Okay, there's a theme here. So, okay, this is really funny. So there's a computer that has, instead of a normal keyboard, it has a piano keyboard. And then he's got his phone, a plant. So we've always got to have a plant in, in your workspace, like these weird sort of green shoots for some reason. I have no idea what these things are on the wall. Monitors. I wouldn't mind a setup like this, like a laptop with a computer keyboard instead of, a QWERTY keyboard, and then, or AZERTY actually, which is what I use because I've got a French keyboard, and then an actual keyboard there on the right side. He's got his notebook. Yeah, he looks kind of fun, and a little patch bay up here. It's not connected to anything, and then another little plant. So one theme seems to be that composers work in little rooms at desks. They invariably work with computers. They invariably have monitors. Okay. Well, there you have it. I don't know what to conclude from this. I think possibly we don't really have a very precise idea of how composers do their work. Maybe that's part of it. So if I were to ask, let's say maybe a different profession and show me what the work environment looks like, let's see if it's any more accurate. So show me the interior of a police station with all of the tools that the police need to do their policing. Let's see if this is any better, any more accurate than what it's coming up with for composers. Okay, it's not accurate at all. These are not. This has nothing to do with policing. These are tools. So okay, it could well be that I just really suck at using Grok, and that if I used more precise prompts, I would get something better. I don't know. Let's try this again in 3 months and see if any progress has been made. So maybe this is edifying. I don't know. Try it out yourself and let me know if you're able to get anything better out of Grok. And we'll see you in the next video.